Okay, welcome to the session. So how many of you watched Keynote today? Quite a lot. Isn't that impressive? We are shipping at a very, very fast pace. We are shipping not just as new features, but we are shipping new products. So it's really important for us to understand the update process, make it super smooth for all of you so that we can continue shipping and shipping the new things and it becomes seamless for you guys. How many of you are using Dynamics 365 today? Great. How many for PowerApps? Oh, quite a lot. Okay, great. Good to know. So we have Ty over here. She manages the release process overall.
Hello, everyone.
Great. I'm Manas Maheshwari, program manager with Dynamics 365, and also do a bunch of stuff over here which we are talking about. So here's the agenda today. We're going to talk about Dynamics 365 customer engagement release and updates along with PowerApps and Flow, which includes like most of the parts of Power Platform. Let's start with earlier update process. What used to be there before April 2019 update, our previous mechanism, and then what's the new and the current mechanism which we started with April 2019 update, and how's the new update process mechanics work, and few of the additional resources for you guys to leverage and help so that you can make it a seamless and easy experience for you all. So coming to the earlier update process, how many of you used to feel like this guy over here whenever an update process used to be announced? Confusing, terrifying, like this guy? I don't know how many of you are feeling like that. Well, not surprised on that. So we were shipping, and it used to be a customer-driven upgrade process. So the words are pretty strong. Customer-driven update means customer can go and update anytime. It sounds pretty positive, but in reality, it also had a lot of other issues, which means updating process spanned over a year. Customers had various versions of environments and orgs at the same time. Version 7 for production, version 8 maybe for sandbox, version 9 where they're doing the development, transferring one solution, taking it from dev to test to prod, doing all the customizations. Some of the stuff work in one version, some of the stuff doesn't work in another version. All of that used to make a lot of confusion, right? Many of the customers, in fact, went ahead, opted for a consultant because God save them types happen. So all in all, support became a nightmare for everyone. With the new process, we do intend to make these improvements, and we'll see in the later slides how we have improved a lot on those aspects. The biggest issue used to happen when we say, hey, here is the new update, move from version 8 to version 9, that's great, all of the changes will be in this. But you know what, customer upgraded, tested, verified in the sandbox, moved to production, where all the things surpassed all the issue, things have started working fine. But you know what? After 5 weeks or 6 weeks or after 2 months, there was a breaking change which impacted the customer app. No doubt they will be sad. No doubt they will be coming back to us and saying, guys, you guys need to fix it. Similarly, if you go to PowerApps, Canvas-based apps, problem was a little bit different over here. Problem was we were shipping at such a high rate. New product in the market wants to make sure that we are doing the cutting edge and the right thing, providing the right things to you. And in the spirit of that, we started shipping at a very fast rate. All the new features, like customers were super excited about it. But in all of this process, at times we impacted the customer's production app. There have been cases where customers' production app was deployed. They didn't do any of the changes. But just because we introduced some new things, new updates, it broke their app or it impacted their customer experience. So what happens to the end user who are sitting on the floor using it? They might be sales manager. They might be somebody on the floor, like literally just using it on the tablet or desktop and web. And some of the controls were supposed to work in certain manner if I click on this button, but it completely changed with the new update process. How do they learn it? They will get confused with it. Overall, net impacting all the customer experience, dissatisfying them, dissatisfying you guys, impacting the supportability aspect on our side. The hope is the new and the current update process will solve all these stuff. And today in this session, what we'll focus on how we have tried solving this and make it a seamless and predictable and a continuous experience for you guys. So it's always a challenge, right? We want to provide the latest stuff to you as early as possible. We want to make sure that if there is any issue, we fix it ahead of time. We can just make sure your experience is seamless on using our platform. At the same time, we want to make sure that we don't break or impact any of your production apps. Your end users should not get impacted at all, and it should be predictable and continuous. So we introduce the release waves, where entire year gets divided into 2 release waves. Release wave 1, which starts from April and goes on till September. We release a bunch of new functionalities, and we'll be notifying you ahead of time for that. The second one starts on October and goes on till March 2020 in this case, and so on. This just continues. Early visibility and access. So we are publishing the release plans. So yeah, we published the next 6 months plan, which starts from October to the March. All the features listed down over here, and you have the complete visibility of what we are going to ship in the next few months. Like it's a 6-month cycle, and the key important aspect of it, it's not just you knowing it, it's you getting into those things, planning ahead of time how you can leverage it. You can get into your development cycle, put the resources ahead of time, get the planning in place so that you can improve your experience, your end user's experience for the business application utilizing the built on Power Platform. Again, this is an important aspect of making it predictable and continuous. Early visibility. So we are going to ship these features and updates, which starts from October to April 2020 for the upcoming one, for the release wave 2. But what's important is to provide you some of the early access ahead of time for some of the mandatory changes which are going to come. We'll drill down deeper in today's session. What do you mean by end user mandatory changes? What kind of changes they are? Like, and how do you get the early access of that so that you can make sure that what's coming doesn't impact your production apps? So when we say end user impacting changes, which means that you have a happy app deployed where 500 users or 1,000 users are using across field, across on the floor, and one fine day an update gets launched which changes the experience. And the experience which we thought will be very simple, but your maybe some navigation experience changed. But the people who are actually using it get confused because what was taught to them a few months back, where you conducted all training and everything, has completely changed. They are confused what to do. It impacts your business continuity. It impacts the business at that very moment for you. So what we have made sure is those kind of changes will be made ahead of time, provided to you, and you will get early access to them. You try it out, try it in your sandbox. We'll go through the complete process how you should be doing that. And on that day, on one specific day, those will be deployed in your environment. You can opt in ahead of time and make those changes. The rest of the functionalities, which includes newer updates, etc., new feature which do not impact the end users directly, all of them will keep rolling out over the period of 6 months. So this is what we call as minor release, which spans across the rest of the features will be deployed over here, where on the weekly basis we deploy them, which might be performance and bug fixes, new enhanced features, but these will not include any of the end user impacting changes, which can make your end user's experience disruptive. Any questions on this before we proceed? So the new process, realized benefits, lower supportability costs. We are hoping you guys don't have to go through the complete cycle of months and months to make sure that your process is done and you can adopt the new update process. You will have the early visibility and access to what's coming, not just with the help of documentation, but some of the features you can try it out ahead of time. Opt in, don't wait for Microsoft to provide those updates. You have those opt-in mechanisms, go ahead and take it whenever it's comfortable for you. The next one is increased innovation. We want to make sure that we continue to ship new features and updates to you as soon as possible. We want to make sure, and as well as make sure at the same time, that we don't impact your business apps. So whether you're a partner or a customer, you will get to enjoy or leverage all of these with the new release process. Okay, update process, mechanics, how does it really work? If you see the Power Platform, there can be various kind of apps which can be built on of it. Many of you are using sales service marketing, are homegrown first-party apps. Many of you are developing the model-driven apps. Some of you are using canvas-based apps, which you're using with the help of PowerApps, maker experiences, and developing them. All of this is happening at a great speed. Totally understand. You guys are adopting at a very fast pace. And there can be some customized apps as well, which you are developing either with the help of ISV or on your own. All of this leverages the PowerApps platform. And the way it works is there are a bunch of app maker scenarios over here, these experiences, which can be, say, you are using App Module Designer, or you're using the Canvas Studio or the View Designer, which enable you to utilize the core platform capabilities like the database, the common data service, or it helps utilize not just the app building experiences, but also business processes to be included, business workflows to be included as part of those apps. Great, as an app maker or a customizer, you start over here, you start building those apps using our tools and technology, and then what? All your end users start using them with various clients which we have. Some of them might be using on tablets, some of them using on web, some of them using on mobile, which can be iOS or Android. We support all of that with great set of technology, and all of these are powered by PowerApps overall platform. Well, not just this. You need the admins to be happy with this, right? So they need to control, they need to make sure that everything is going fine in your company, all the security policies, IT policies, etc. is taken care, so that all of the tools which PowerApps provide or Dynamics 365 provides, you all feel safe using that. So setting up all the policies, etc. is important, and Admin Center is the place for that. So here is a set of experiences which we provide. It's not a complete list, but the core piece of it, which caters to various kind of persona. And all the end user impacting changes might start happening from, say, platform, but finally get surfaced over here on this layer. So there might be site navigation changes which are coming, maybe just a ribbon change, right? All of this start getting surfaced over here from the end user perspective because they are using these platform capabilities. Whereas the app maker and the admins utilize these to build the app, to edit the app. So now let's drill down into what are those end user functionalities and updates and what can be the makers, admins, and customizer updates types. So from feature and change types, when we talk about the end users, some of them will be auto-enabled. That means there are certain features which come and you feel, and we feel that these are required to be provided to the end users so that you can leverage the right experience. So some of the experience probably was not working appropriately. We realized there needs to be a bug fix needs to happen over there. We issue an update to make that better. Or some of that also comes with the new technology which we start using as part of the platform. And we need to make sure that that update goes to everyone. So it becomes a mandatory and auto-enabled kind of scenario for us, right? So for our conversation and for release plan, we indicate them as type A features. So this is something really important to understand. What are the types, type A, type B, etc. The second one can be for the makers and admins, where we say, oh, this is the one where we are going to change the experience so that you guys can start leveraging it, utilizing it, and we think it's necessary for all the environments to have. And that's what we indicate type B. Whereas there can be certain features which we are indicating as type C, where an admin needs to go and explicitly opt in. Maybe there is a new feature, audit log, right? Whether you want to enable it or no, admin makes a decision in the organization, saying, this is how the experience, I want to opt in, and it will impact some of the experiences across the board. But I'm okay with it as an admin. And I make that decision after talking to my makers, customizers, informing the end users, etc., that, hey, this experience is good to go, I'm fine, I'm going to inform everyone, and it's in my hand to control. Whereas type A and type B are something which platform issues the updates and says, guys, this is something really important, and maybe there was some security issue or performance issue, we diagnosed it early, and you guys need to have that so that it will be better for you guys. You know, all this is great, but what comes as important as part of that is this type A end user experience with auto-enable start impacting the users which are sitting on the floor or in the market. Your sales manager suddenly feels, oh guys, there's something wrong, the app is not working. They start coming and start shouting at the person who developed it or the admins, and admin says, I haven't done anything. The maker says, I haven't done anything. Now, who has done that? Yes, platform issued the update. With the help of early access, you will be able to leverage an opt-in mechanism so that you can try it out ahead of time, make sure things are all fine, so that when they are deployed to the production environment for you, things are all tested, the guidance has been issued to your field, everyone is aware ahead of time. Okay, so type A, what we are saying is we are only going to release it twice a year with an early opt-in available. We are not going to issue it every week for those changes, whereas type B and C, we are going to, can come anytime in the year because they won't impact your end users. Now let's drill down into the type A. What is the mechanism to opt in? How can you leverage various capabilities which we provide to make sure that your sales in the field and the people who are working on the floor, all of them get aware of it ahead of time. And you guys are prepared, most importantly. Okay, type A features, auto-enabled for end users. Simple experience. There was a site navigation which used to look black, and now it looks gray. Some of the things which were listed down on the left navigation, the menu has changed. A button on clicking used to expand to the left, but now it expands to right. How does, it's a very small change, right? But the people who are actually using it gets impacted. So the feature, this can include right from the platform capability, some of the tool sets which we talked about, or it can also be from the Microsoft Dynamics 365 first-party apps, which can be sales, service, and marketing. All of these are included as part when you say type A features which can impact end user experience. So with April 2019 update, what we did was we issued an early access starting February over here. And we said, here's the 2 months period. Go ahead. You can try it out in your sandbox environment, which will be the copy of your production environment. And make sure your solutions and your Dynamics, the environment is working all okay. Your apps are working all okay with that. You might have done some customization, which might not work with the latest updates, or it might be totally different when it comes to the end users, how the experience will look like. All of this can be tested ahead of time, and we give you 2 months period to do that. Starting April, we take your feedback over the period of 2 months. If there's anything important which needs to be fixed, we fix it during that period. But then we go ahead in April and update. Probably it's not working. So we start updating all the environments with the end user impacting changes, and which will be rolled out region by region to all the, starting from one region to the finally to the North America. All of these environments will get impacted. Will be enabled by the end user experiences, changes. This experience is available in the Power Platform Admin Center, literally with the help of a click. And in October 19, basically we are going to do the similar thing for October 2019, which will come 2 months prior to that, which will be August. Now, rest of the features which are type B and C, which we are going to discuss in later slides, will be rolled out over the period of the next 6 months. Another major difference which we did over here, we didn't change the version number. So I know we have been used to upgrading the version number, version 7 to version 8, upgrade, version 8 to version 9, upgrade. Imagine that's gone now. It's going to be the key aspect is you should not look at the version number anymore. What we are promising is the backward compatibility on that aspect. So that will be taken care. So there's not going to be any version update happening with every 6-month release which we do. So this was an experience. You go to the Power Platform Admin Center, make sure you select a sandbox environment, which is a copy of your production environment, so that you can really test out your production apps. Click on this, click on the Manage Updates over here, and enable the April 2019 update opt-in. So with the help of a click of a button, you can go ahead and enable all those experiences which can potentially impact your end users. Okay, so the next major update is going to be in October 2019. Exactly similar workflow. 2 months ahead of time, we'll start issuing the end user impacting changes so that you can try it out in your sandbox environment. Okay. Any questions before we move? Yep. Sorry? So we'll go into the type C now, but the type C ones and the type V ones are the ones where end user doesn't get impacted directly. An admin or a maker needs to explicitly make a gesture to utilize them. So it might be that so type C typically is where there might be certain controls which you're introducing, which we have introduced from the platform perspective. They're absolutely new, fancy, and you want to leverage in your app. That is the moment where you include, you build, and basically you start deploying. When you deploy the app in the production environment, that is when your end users start utilizing it. So they will not be impacted until you don't do that action. Or maybe there can be an admin control which impacts all the users or certain set of users in the company. That will not happen unless the admin doesn't go and start using it. So that's the difference. Maybe there are a certain set of capabilities which only admins get, and those can be, the new experiences of, say, for example, drilling down into analytics, etc. Those will not impact the existing apps, how they are working. This will be just the additional benefits to the makers and admins. Does that answer your question? So basically, you can ignore them by not including them into the apps, or you can ignore them by not opting in if you're an admin kind of stuff. Again, no version changes. So, okay, so we are going to send the communication on the major and minor updates, whether it's release wave 2 or the weekly builds which we deploy every week and continuously ship type B and type C. And we do that with the help of release plan for major updates or release wave. And there is posting on Microsoft 365 Message Center. And we are, for October, also planning to do direct emails to admins that, hey, here is the new update which is available, and go ahead and try it out. Here are the features which are available, link to the release plan, etc., and more details around it. Blog post and documentation will be part. If you read them, this is going to be an important aspect of it. Minor updates, we do the blog post, and for Microsoft Flow and PowerApps, we do the weekly release notes as well. So that's an important aspect to understand. Support and feedback. Yes, there will be issues which will come as part of that, and more than happy to take feedback, and so that we can incorporate those ahead of time, so that when we issue those end user impacting changes or any changes which become mandatory for all the environments, that's the time we need to fix them all. Some of the things we might not be able to fix, but that might be because it doesn't impact all the users, etc. Might be a specific scenario which we might avoid. Yeah. So here's the thing. There are two kind of updates which are happening over here. One is the weekly one. And if there is an issue which we identify which impacts many customers, then we might choose to delay that. It 100% makes sense. But if it is impacting one specific customer, which is a very minor one, issue that like really doesn't change or impact your business process, doesn't impact your business at that very moment if we issue it, we might choose to go ahead with it. So it depends on what criteria we have. At any moment, we do not want to break a lot of customers, is for sure. Yeah, that's definitely there. So it might also happen that we don't get aware of that ahead of time if it's a certain set of customers are impacted. So all of those factors get counted in. But if we are aware and if it impacts a lot of customers, it's like really impacting your business, it 100% makes sense that for us to delay that specific feature if we are not delaying the complete release, right? Okay, so what we have gone through over here is the type A kind of features, which is impacts the end users. Now let's start drilling down into type B and C. These will be released over the period of from April to October, right? So we have a weekly release mechanism where we'll start issuing these type B and type C features, which do not impact your end users directly. You need to do certain action to impact your end users. So that's an important aspect of it. Now these can be the makers or admin or customizers, any of the features it can be, so, right? So for the weekly and the regular release, so one is, of course, we do the blog post announcements, you'll get to learn from the documentation, etc. You'll learn about from the release plan, etc. But how can you leverage it ahead of time? How we provided a mechanism to opt in ahead of time for the type A feature, which is end user impacting. How can you also learn about these ahead of time? So well, this is our release cadence right now, where we start a development of certain release. And what we do is we do an internal testing, an exhaustive testing, and which is done internally in Microsoft. Then we start rolling it out to the station by station. And the first station where it lands is in the first release, or we at times call it as a preview environment. So this environment is the place where many of the customers come and start testing out. Maybe a copy, and we'll go through the mechanism how you can utilize it. They test out their production app equivalent copy over here to verify if what's going to be deployed eventually in station 3 or 4, where your production environment is there. And when those updates reaches those later stations, it doesn't impact your apps. So this is what we recommend over here. Get early access to weekly release. So create an environment in the first release or preview. And this can be done with the help of the Power Platform Admin Center, PowerApps Admin Center today. You just go over there, choose the region as Preview United States. So currently it's only in the United States region where you can opt in. And then you can deploy or copy the apps and flows from your environment, which is maybe a production environment, over here. So I know this is going to be a little bit of manual work, but yes, it's in a backlog to make this process smooth eventually. And then Microsoft updates the first release environment with the latest updates. And that is the time when you'll observe the weekly release notes, weekly notes, etc. And then you can go ahead and start testing out your apps in that. Do the regression testing. If you figure out any issues, report that back to Microsoft so that if it's really impacting one, we can fix ahead of time. Then all these updates will be rolling out into the rest of the stations, which is station 2, 3, 4, which can be North America or Europe or any of these regions where your environment is there and your apps will be upgraded to the latest one. Okay, so as part of this first release environment or the preview environment, today we support some of the capabilities from platform, which are Canvas-based app studio and the web experience associated with it. We are working on enabling the CDS part of it. It's in our backlog. How can we provide you the CDS related capabilities as well, coming as to the first release, like first deployed to the first release and then eventually coming to the rest of the stations. Any questions before we move on to the additional resources? Which preview environment? Any public preview as in like new feature or?
I had to go right to a PM to get my customers, access to dual write functionality. So when you kind of create this preview environment, am I also signing up for some sort of public and private preview, or is that like a totally separate process?
Fantastic point. It's a separate process today. So imagine there's a new feature which is coming, and where the PM whom you talk to or the product team wants to issue the private preview of that, public preview of that, right? So you might require an experience either to directly go and connect with them, or, which is for private preview typically happens, or for the public preview, you might have certain experience somewhere to enable it from the admin center or someplace, right? All of that is a little bit different from the preview environment concept. So if I go back over here, this is just the weekly release rollout. So this is just to make sure that whatever we are rolling out, A, you can get early access of that. B, we can make sure that whatever we are rolling out, sometime prior to that, you guys can test out and give us the feedback. This happens with every weekly release. And what you're talking right now is completely a new feature. So whenever a feature will be created, first it will land in the first release, and then will be rolled out. Now, it might happen that it's enabled by default and everyone can use it, and it might happen that it's just in private preview or public preview, and you might have to opt into that. So these two are completely orthogonal process today, but this is just meant for the weekly release rollout. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. So some of the additional resources, I know a few of you who are also interested for F&O session. There is a session by Mira tomorrow. It starts at 9 a.m. Sorry, this is not updated the time. But check out for the breakout session from Mira on the Dynamics 365 F&O. And here are the additional resources, which also includes the release plan link. Go ahead, make sure you check it out. Check out what are the latest updates which are going to come as from October to the next March as part of the release wave 2. Cool. Any more questions? So Power Team could use your feedback. We are looking for you guys to provide us the feedback. If you're interested, definitely sign up here and get paid for it. Thank you.